Hello, my name is Rob, and today we're going to be looking at the harvest and thinking about all the wonderful things that God produces from a grain of wheat in the harvest. This is a grain of wheat. It doesn't look very important, does it? Or very significant. Keeps rolling away. But it's small, dry, a bit shriveled up. But there's some amazing things that happen to this wheat seed during the year and help it to produce a wonderful harvest for all of us. We're off to find my friend Will now, whose farm it is here, and he's going to show us how we drill the wheat and how we harvest it.
Right, so imagine this is a crop of wheat standing up in the field. This front part of the combine is called the header, and this comes along and it cuts the wheat off at the bottom, then falls into the combine and gets taken up to be processed. The first part of the process is it aggressively rubs the wheat from the ear in the section called the drum. The wheat and the chaff falls through the gaps in the bottom of the drum onto the grain pan, where it's shaken like that, and wind blows the chaff away from the grain, and you're left with clean grain. That clean grain then goes to the top of the combine into the tank. From there, it goes up the tube and into the grain trailers waiting in the field. From there we can go back to the farm. So this is a seed drill. It's what we use to plant wheat for next year's crop. This big tub up here is full of new seed. It goes down to this point here, which is the metering unit, which lines out a set amount of seed per area, i.e. hectares and acres. The seed then is blown all the way up through these pipes, up to the top, down through here. This big disc cuts a slot into the soil, and this coulter here, this is where the seed comes out. So it gets blown down the pipe and comes out the back here and falls into the slot. The drill's moving forward, and then these big press wheels here roll the seed in nice and firm into the soil.
So here are some of the foods that are made from wheat or have wheat flour in them. I mean, we know about flour, which we use in bread and cakes and biscuits and things like that. We've got some loaves of bread here with wheat in. We've got Weetabix, and lots of breakfast cereals have got wheat in as well. Cookies, desserts, sweets, Kit Kats, lovely, lovely. Chocolate bars, biscuits, pizza, who likes pizza? Pasta, lots of different types of pasta as well, noodles, lots of different foods have all got wheat in or wheat flour in. And then we've got things like eggs and milk and sausages. And you think, well, if they got wheat in, they might not have wheat in, but the chickens need wheat in their diet to produce the eggs. The cows have wheat in their diet to produce the milk, and the pigs have wheat in their diet to help us with producing the sausages. So all these wonderful foods and lots others have wheat in. Perhaps you'd like to pause it for a moment now and see if you can think of foods as well and suggest foods that also have wheat in. So we've seen the wheat grains being planted into the ground, pushed right down into the soil, and then they'll sit there waiting for some rain, and then when the rain comes they'll start to grow, and as we get close to winter they'll grow to about that high, and then it looks like they've stopped growing. And then all through the winter weather, when it's cold, rainy and grey, the plants will just sit there in the field, but they're still growing inside. Things are still happening inside the plant for them to grow. And then when the spring comes and it gets warmer and the sun gets higher in the sky, more and more leaves will be produced on the plants, and a great big flag leaf is produced, the biggest leaf of all, that waves to the sun and catches all the goodness from the sun's rays. And then gradually the ears of wheat form, and they come up and they dry, and it turns from green to gold to brown, and then we're ready for the harvesting, and we've got the grains of wheat again. And I look at it and I think, wow, God, you're so clever. From one grain of wheat you've got all these grains, and look at all these wonderful things that can be produced from the wheat. And then I think, wow, you can do all this, God, with one grain of wheat in 1 year. What can you do with me in 1 year? What can be my harvest throughout the whole year? But there are times for me, and for all of us, when we feel a bit like the grains of wheat, the plants in the winter. It's cold and grey around us, and not much seems to be happening. But that's when I remember that God is with us. God is with us all the time, watching over us, caring for us, because he promises us, Jesus promises us in the Bible, that whatever we're doing, God is with us, wanting the best for us, taking care of us. And then in the summer, when things are really good and we're producing our harvest, God is with us always. So let's hope that we all have a good harvest this year in whatever we're doing, knowing that God is watching over us and caring for us. I'd like to end now with a short prayer. So if you want to join in with me, just close your eyes. And if you want to join in, just say Amen at the end. Okay, let's just be still for a moment. Father God, thank you for our harvest. Thank you for the harvest of wheat and all these wonderful foods that we can produce with it. And thank you for the harvest that you want for each of us, the wonderful things that we will do in a year as well. Amen.